Your next fighter, making his way out to the blue corner. Please welcome Sam Debalke.
Sam Debalke coming out of the famed TriStar gym in Montreal, 1-1 as a pro. He's coming off a 47-second win over Tyler Kirk in November of 2017. And of course, when you train out of TriStar, the famous names that have walked in and through that gym, Georges St-Pierre, Rory McDonald, who was just on Bellator last night with another impressive victory. Debalke is in that line, but he is not going to get a warm welcome tonight considering who he's going up against.
Yeah, facing one of the Laramie boys, and I think the biggest thing we're going to notice is the height difference. When I was in the back and Samuel was back there, I mean, he was, you know, just that super tall, skinny guy for 125. You see that here and there, you'll see the 125, you see a lot of like short, stocky wrestlers, but then sometimes you'll see the, you know, lanky 25ers that are, you know, 5'8", 5'9", and so that's what we're going to see when Samuel takes the cage.
And as someone that stands 5'8", I haven't seen 125 pounds since I was in middle school. I'm not sure how in the world they're able to get down to that size, but that is impressive discipline to be able to make that cut and to be able to compete at that weight. But when you take a look at Tony Laramie, he may not have the height, but Kara, I've seen him knock out a fighter almost a foot taller than him when he was an amateur. Tony Laramie's not intimidated by size, by reach, by anything.
No, he is incredibly gifted. He's someone that it's just a pleasure to watch them compete, and it's just like they're born for this. You think of the Wayne Gretzky's, like people that just came by it so naturally for some reason.
Debalke is going to have a significant height and reach advantage in this fight, but his opponent, it's not going to bother him, and the place is going to have the roof blow off once again as Pete Trevino brings him out.
And his opponent, making his way out to the red corner. Please welcome Tony Laramie.
And young Tony Laramie, I mean, it was an undefeated as an amateur, but sits at 2-2 as a pro, and I just think sometimes the movement is too quick. It's tough for someone like him. It's hard to get guys to fight him, and then when guys do fight him, there's maybe guys with just a lot of experience. And, you know, you don't always get your man strength when you're 18 and 19. You know, you start to see that man strength come in a little later on. So I think there's so much more to come, you know, from Tony as he ages.
MTC is such a brilliant camp. Reno Belcastro, an amazing head coach. My only concern with Tony Laramie at the time was in 2017, he took 4 fights in the TKO promotion, and it seemed like a lot really quickly, especially for somebody who came out with such hype, a 7-0 record as an amateur. Tony was unstoppable, and it just felt like it piled up a little bit too quickly. And when you're that age, when things turn against you, it can be a little bit hard to stem that tide.
It just reminds me of the Sidney Crosbys and Eric Lindroses, the guys that were so talented so young that they ended up getting pushed with the bigger, tougher guys. These guys end up with concussions or losses, or, you know, they don't have the career just because they were so good so young, and it's hard not to push them forward and challenge them.
That is a great comparison as we go back into the cage.
Here we go, Windsor fight fans. The following contest is being brought to you by Windsor's Penalty Box, Cheetahs Windsor, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers 773, and Leopard's Lounge and Broil. Introducing your fighters. First, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks trimmed in white. Standing 5 feet 8 inches tall, he weighed in at 126 pounds. He comes to the cage representing TriStar Gym Montreal with an even record of 1 win and 1 loss. Fighting out of and representing Montreal, Quebec, here is Sam Debalke.
I don't know if that's a boo for
his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner.
Montreal.
I think that's being against Tony.
Gray. Standing 5 feet 2 inches tall, he weighed in at 126 pounds. He comes to the cage representing Maximum Training Center, also with an even record of 2 wins and 2 losses. Fighting out of and representing Windsor, Ontario, ladies and gentlemen, here is Tony Laramie. Referee Todd Anderson with fight instruction.
Gentlemen, go over the rules in the back. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. If you hit gloves, do so now. Step back.
It's interesting with Tony having,
Ladies and
being a national
gentlemen, this
wrestling
PFC
champion, but when you think about him,
flyweight
you think of his
contest
stand-up.
will be
I mean, he's so
decided
smooth on
in
his
3
feet, too. So
rounds or less.
one of the fights that everyone has been waiting for.
And I talked about this with Matty Havorka, but you see the size of Tony Laramie. Look at the size of his hands. He throws dynamite in those hands, and for someone of that height, those are big paws.
Great feet from Tony and just charging in with that low leg kick. And that's what you want to do with a taller opponent. You start chopping them down.
Tony looks far more relaxed than we've seen him in some time, going for the head kick early.
Yeah, and head kick against a taller opponent too is not something you always anticipate, right? And what a great job Tony did of kicking and then rearranging with his hands.
This looks like the Tony we saw 7-0 as an amateur. This looks like the Tony we saw start out 2-0 as a pro.
Well, Samuel uses his jab well. I mean, he keeps throwing that stick out there. That's what he should do to try and keep Tony away.
And that's where the question of this fight's going to be. Can Tony work inside?
Well, and I mean, as long as Samuel keeps jabbing and stepping back instead of, jabbing and falling in right into his space. And Tony doing a great job of fighting smart, and that's what you want to do. Put the shots together, go to the low leg, and then upstairs where they're looking for, you go back downstairs.
And Kara, clearly the way that Samuel's fighting with that long jab out and then back up, he's respecting the power of Tony Laramie.
The accuracy of Tony is unbelievable on any shot that he throws. There's like almost no wasted energy. I mean, you don't see him missing with any sort of frequency.
That's why the comparisons to athletes like Lindros and Crosby is so apt, because it's like it's born into them.
Yeah. A lot of blocks there. And all he's got to do, angle his head off of one of those jabs, and great block in return. I mean, that's the advantage, too.
Tony's right hand found a home, but so did the kick of Debalke. Tony gave him a little fake on the takedown.
And you can tell Samuel just knowing he's got to be a little bit cautious of whatever he does. And there, you overcommit with a shot, and you try and throw a short shot on Tony, he's going underneath it.
And now this is where height and reach doesn't really matter. Tony working out of the half guard position. Trying to make his way around the side.
Well, this is where you wonder, if Samuel can use that length, to pull some submissions off from the bottom.
He'll have to pull Tony back into a full guard to have a real good shot at those. As from side control, Tony's in full control, although Debalke does a nice job to get away.
Tony just, the block and return is what's really tough on people. You make somebody pay right away for throwing at you.
Oh, that head kick again.
Yeah. Oh, and then the body. See, that's what's great. You're following the hip. You think he's going back to the head, and this time he goes clean to the body where your liver is, and that's not a shot it's easy to recover from. But beautiful jab by Samuel. I mean, if he just can utilize that and stay at that range, if Tony comes near, you kind of post out, recreate that space. But see, he fell inside after that kick. Like, he should have went back outside.
The kick combination that Laramie threw just moments ago, really reminiscent of Jesse Ronson. As Debalke again trying to swing that jab out there, and it seems like Tony's reading the timing better, Kara.
Well, Samuel stays after his jab, and he's really got to keep resetting his feet right after, so he's got to stay on the outside. He's better off pot shotting with a Tony, where he hits a shot, gets out, hits a shot, gets out, just to make Tony miss, because Tony's too accurate.
Tony trying to walk him down a bit.
I mean, and at times, I think if you're Tony, it can be a little frustrating because you're like, I'm hitting this guy so hard, and he's still there. So Samuel's super game to be in here.
Well, I don't think you can train at that TriStar gym and not be tough.
Great overhand right by Tony, just coming right over top of that jab. And what that does is make someone stop jabbing. They're not going to jab with the same effectiveness that they were earlier if you start telling them, hey, every time you jab, you're going to take it.
And Tony just following him, just stalking him down. Oh, spinning back fist. And Debalke leaned in, again upstairs.
Yeah, I was looking for that elbow, the way he fell in on that. And those kind of moves are so important just to make somebody freeze and try to anticipate what you're doing next, because it's so unpredictable.
Again.
I'd like to see Tony go back downstairs to the leg, start chopping his leg again, because I think that's what really opened up Tony. Oh, there he goes. That's what opened up his hands, when you get someone looking and being concerned about those leg kicks.
We saw that all the way back to the first fight of the night when Justin Taverne stopped going to the legs to open up top.
You know, Tony's doing such a good job of body head and answering, you know, and Samuel not pulling back at all. Still trying to answer.
Good first round on both sides so far. Seems like Laramie's landed the more damaging shots plus the takedown. Oh, and he went upstairs that time, and now tracking him, stalking him down. And Debalke will be out of the round, but Tony Laramie really opened up at the end. A combination that was placed beautifully. And Kara, that's momentum he can carry along.
I feel like Samuel just after that round had that face like, what did I just get into? What was that? I mean, just like I said, there's not much wasted offense from Tony. I mean, whatever he throws, he lands. And so you have to have that expectation. I think Samuel's just got to keep doing what he's doing, but stay longer. I think whenever he gets inside that range of Tony, it's a bad time in the cage. I think I'm going to see Tony mixing it up this round. You know, he's great on his feet. He's doing fantastic. Whenever you're almost at par with someone, that's where you mix it up. That's where athletes excel, right? You're going to bring something else to the table.
Out,
and that
seconds
could be
out. Here we
higher
go. Windsor,
volume,
make some noise. Round number 2.
And Samuel's going to come back out here and back on that jab and staying long.
And if you're Samuel Debalke, you cannot afford to get swarmed by Tony Laramie. You know that's what he's looking for, that opportunity to get on top of him and just throw those rapid fire punches.
And so accurate. That's what's really shocking.
Yeah, with that kind of accuracy, you cannot fall victim to that swarm.
It's like a sniper. And that's a nice long right hand, because even if Samuel keeps throwing that long right hand, even if he's missing, he could use that just to set up, you know, the left hook or a head kick.
It's definitely something to think about if you're Tony Laramie. Sam tries to come in. He got intercepted. Was able to back him up. Oh, Laramie just switched on a dime.
The fact that Laramie just sit in that pocket and, you know, hit those uppercuts too. I mean, he knows his range, and that's where the advantage lies. And that's what Samuel needs to do. Don't rush it. Just keep popping that jab and look for maybe some of the, you know, a head kick.
I don't know if it's a cut under the left eye of Tony Laramie or if it's just a mouse, but there is something there. As he tries to walk Debalke down.
See, that's where Samuel's just starting to kind of sit in the pocket with him, and Tony trying to walk him to the cage. You don't want to go straight back with Tony. Samuel fully game for this fight. I mean, this is only his 3rd pro fight. I mean, this is one of the toughest fights he'll see in a while.
And you look at, these are two very, very well-trained 125ers. And again, Laramie trying to find a home up top as Debalke goes downstairs with the kick. They are reading and playing off of each other so well.
I think the only thing, if I were to say anything with Tony, is like when he uses his left hand, if he were to keep his right ready instead of letting it kind of trail off, he would have it ready to land on Samuel a little bit more, just with higher frequency.
Oh, uppercut on the inside. It does seem like there is an opening there if you're able to pull it off, as again, both fighters go to the legs. Debalke doubles up on the jab.
Yeah, and I mean, Tony's already got Samuel questioning his shots. Like, there's a difference when you throw a punch with bad intentions and one where you're questioning, am I going to get hit? And that's kind of the way Samuel's throwing them right now.
Oh, Tony just missed with the head kick and then the spinning back fist.
Well, and that was a beautiful follow-up. When you miss, you know, you jump on them with that secondary attack.
With the way Debalke is throwing that, doubling up now on the jab, it felt like that Tony had read his timing and he had to do something to at least get him off the scent a little bit. Right there, slipped the right hand in.
You know, Samuel, this is where he's got to stop waiting on Tony. You know, he's got to like pump that jab, pump it, put something in his face so he can't just get off his shots.
Tony goes back to the body.
That body killed him. He hit that liver, and that body shot hurt Samuel, that kick to the body.
Yeah, he had to get out of there.
And the great thing is Tony read it, and he went right back there with some liver shots. But man, how tough is Samuel, man. You can tell he's feeling that pain, and he's still coming back strong.
Yeah, this is going to be heavy lifting to get either one of these guys out of it.
This is going to be, oh, he went right back to that liver shot. How smart is that?
And Debalke, yeah,
yeah.
Debalke doubled up, Kara, and that was not fun.
you know, if you've had that experience of getting hit with a liver shot, it's like you can't control it. I mean, it's so painful, and it takes your legs out from you, and you just feel like you can't even move.
Yeah, essentially your body is shutting down involuntarily. Everything just goes blank. And again, Tony coming forward. He's going right back to the body.
He does a great job of coming up the center. Every time that Samuel squares up, Tony brings a knee or an uppercut right up through the center.
And it looks like Tony is really trying to hunt that liver down. Debalke trying to stay high.
Yeah, Samuel's got to just stay on that stick. He's got to move around, let the shots go, not trying to do too many at a time.
Tony's left jab found a home, then the right uppercut.
Yeah, if you start slowing your jab down, it's so easy to capitalize and counter on a jab.
Oh, and you saw the wince that time for Debalke.
Oh, that was clean.
The head kick! The head kick from Tony Laramie. Good night.
This is not just a W. This is like you beat a super game opponent. I mean, this is not like a walkthrough dude. This is a guy that is tough as nails and gave Tony a tough fight. But Tony, he's on another level than so many athletes that we see. It's unreal.
Welcome home, Tony Laramie. The return to Windsor, the return to the cage. And he knocks out Sam Debalke. What a performance. Sam Debalke gave him everything he could have asked for in that fight. Tony Laramie walked through it and knocked him out. Reno Belcastro's head coach told me when Tony was 16, this kid is a prodigy. This kid is going to be a superstar. We saw it at the beginning of his pro career, just how good he could be. Now we're seeing it as he steps through to the next level, just exactly how good he is. Tony Laramie is going to fulfill that superstar potential. He's healthy, he's been in the gym, he's worked out some new techniques, and he is on fire now. And you can see the emotion on Tony Laramie. He did not have the end of 2017 that he wanted in TKO. He needed to step away, he needed to regroup. Well, the regroup was successful. Tony Laramie returns to the cage and returns home with an outstanding victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please, for both of the fighters in this cage. Referee Todd Anderson steps in to stop this contest at 4 minutes, 16 seconds of the second round for your winner by TKO, Tony Laramie.
Well, Tony, congratulations. I have to say the real winners were all of us in the crowd watching. It is spectacular to watch you perform, just an outstanding performance. And that was a game opponent. I mean, that's probably one of the toughest 25ers I've seen fight. Tell me about this fight. How do you feel?
I just feel good, you know. It's like I haven't fought in a year and a half because my last fight I got injured, you know. I like broke my hip and my back. It was pretty bad. And I went through a pretty bad phase with myself, and I'm just happy to be back, and I'm happy for my comeback to be in front of everyone from Windsor, you know. Thank you guys for coming out.
Yeah, like what? This is like the sixth man out here supporting you. What did it feel when you heard this crowd go just crazy for you?
It felt good, but like, I don't know, I'm not trying to brag, but wherever I go, I always get the crowd on my side, and that's how I am, you know. I'm here to bring it, I'm here to win, I'm here to be the best, and in time, I'm going to show them the best, and that's all it's going to take.
Well, you've overcome a lot of obstacles, especially when you're in a position where it's like, is he ever going to be able to fight again? And you came in here and you performed like that. It's spectacular. Tell me who you have to thank.
I got to thank all my sponsors, LaUna, IBW, Motor City Community Credit Union, Penalty Box, Takedown Distribution, And I have a couple other shout-outs, you know. Coming up to this fight, I had a couple people close to me pass away. I had my uncle Mike Newby, you know, rest in peace him. I had my grandpa, he passed away 2 weeks ago. And then but enough of the mourning. My biggest call-out is one of my closest friends, Josh Moser. He's expecting his firstborn baby tonight or tomorrow. Biggest shout-out to him. He's a really close friend of mine. And I would just like to thank, again, you guys, man, because without you guys being here, we wouldn't have a show.
Now, I just have to ask you, Tony, your thoughts on your opponent, because he was tough as nails, man. We were out here watching, and it wasn't some guy that you could just run through. How tough was it to fight him?
You know what, like, it's a fight, right? Anything can happen, so any fight I see the same, whether I win or lose. I'd rather have a hard-fought loss than an easy win, right? And he gave me a good matchup, you know what I mean? He made me sweat, you know. It's just a good fight to come back, and I'm just happy to be here, man. I'm just at a loss of words. It's been so long since I've been here. It's the longest I ever went without competition in my whole time ever doing this sport. And you just question yourselves all the time, man, when you're out this long, you know, and it's really emotional to be here now.
Well, congratulations. It was a pleasure watching you fight.
Thank you.
What a win for Tony Laramie in his return home to Windsor. And we saw the emotion on Tony as he exited the cage. Kara, he wanted that win. He needed that win after a 2017 in TKO that didn't go his way. He took the time away, he regrouped, he refocused. He works with an incredible team, and there you see the results.